HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to teach us something. He says, look at this. Where is the Gan Eden? We already said, aside from the Gan Eden that's physically located in this world that's studied in the Midrash and Me'am Lo, is the Gan Eden that we all attended for at least almost 9 months. Where is it? It's in the womb. He says, in the womb, what does the baby do? Nothing. Eats, sleeps, eats, sleeps. Everything that it wants, it has. No one can bother it. It relaxes. Meaning, it's in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who said it? Job. Job, in chapter 29, says, Mi itneni be'irchei kedem kemeh Eloah yishmereni. Be'ilo nero alai roshi leoro elech choshech. He says, if only I could be as in the earlier months, as in the days when God would watch over me. Meaning, if only I could be back in my mommy's belly, when only God can take care of me. Why? Nobody else saw me, nobody else dealt with nothing. It was only me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When his lamp would shine over my head, and I would walk in the darkness by his light. Chachamim say, what is this oro? What is this light? It says that babies have the organuz. There's two lights to the world. There's the light that you see, and there's the original light, which is called oraganuz, the hidden light. This light gives a person the ability to see from one end of the world to the other end of the world. And the babies have the ability to see everything from one end of the world to the other end of the world. So, Job says, when I was in my mommy's belly, I was able to see all the way to the end of the world. There was nothing hidden for me. Why? Because he had the light of Hashem. When I was in the days of my prime, when God's mystery was above my tent, when the Almighty was still with me, with my attendants all around me. So here, Job says to us something very interesting. As righteous as he is, as extraordinary as he is, he says to us, the highlight of his life was when he was in his mommy's belly. Why? Because that's when Hashem was the only one taking care of everything and he didn't have to do anything. What is he trying to really teach us? What is the Chazon Ish trying to teach us here? They're both saying in essence the same thing in different words. Chazon Ish is telling us that, look, you have this baby, it's a wonder of creation, the whole makeup of it, and the Creator planted this in the heart of the mother to care for the baby. What's happening here? He says, look at this. When a baby is in the mommy's belly, is in the womb, zero ishtadlut. No effort to do nothing. And what happens? HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything. Feeds the baby, takes care of the baby, everything is Hashem. The second the baby leaves, already the level of ishtadlut changes. Already the level is, why? Because now he has to go to the bathroom, now he needs to eat, now he needs help from society, he needs to do stuff. Automatically the amount of help from Hashem goes down. Why? Because he's doing something now. Then as the baby grows up, what does he want to do? What's the one thing that all kids say constantly? Myself, I want to do myself, I want to do it, I want to do it, they want to do everything. Me, I want to do everything. What, you want to eat? I want to eat by myself. Yeah, but you don't even know how to hold the spoon. Myself, everything myself. I want to drive myself, I want to go myself, everything myself. They want to do everything themselves, kids. And guess what? That's what we want. We want to do everything ourselves. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, you want to do it yourself? Go. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. In reality, you think you're winning. In reality, you think that you're gaining. But you're losing. The more you rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you say HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you do it. You do it. I'm going to learn Torah, you take care of everything else. But believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take care of it, not just like I'm a bum in the middle of the street and then, as soon as I run out of money, I'm going to start collecting change. No, Mamash, believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take care of you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, oh, You want to be like a baby again? I'll take care of everything. The more you try, the more Kadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, go ahead, you do it. You want to do it by yourself? Go ahead, son. I'm not going to stop you. It's free choice. And that's what happens to us from the second that we're brought into this world. The first thing that we learn is that ishtadlut is not an obligation to the extent where you have to try. You only have to try based on the amount of emunah that you actually have. Meaning, if you have the emunah of a baby, you don't have to do nothing. You go, you open the book all day in the morning, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and you pretty much learn until you can't. That's your job in the world. That's what the baby does in the uterus, in the womb. That's what he does. Sits there, learns with the chavruta, the malach. Okay, Rashi said this. You know what? Okay, I like what Rashi said. What about the Rambam? Rambam said that. Okay, and they learn for 9 months. No ishtadlut or nothing else. No ishtadlut to get food. No ishtadlut to get a drink. No ishtadlut to get a job. He's not checking the internet just to see what's on the news. Maybe the stocks went up, stocks went down. Nothing. The second you start trying, no problem. It's not a sin to try. But just so you know, you are taking up space. You're trying. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, you want to try, so that I'm going to try less to give you room for your efforts. The more we try, the less Hashem tries. Why? He has to give you room to do it. Now, that's not necessarily a sin or at all. It's not even necessarily a problem, because who could be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai on day one? What's a problem? When we overdo it. When we try so hard, we start believing that we are responsible for the outcome. That's kfirah. That's not only trying too much, that's a heretic. When you think that kochi ve'otzem yadi, my power, my strength is what gave me this reward, this yielded me this fruit, and so on and so forth, when you think that you are the one that did it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you have turned yourself into a little mini God. You think that you are in charge of the outcome. Only thing you're in charge of is effort. How much you try. The more you try, the more I'll let you do it. The more I'll let the outcome be based on, in essence, your actions, if you will. But as far as what the outcome would be, that's always in the hands of Hashem. And what ends up happening is that we sometimes forget that Hashem is the one that's running the world. That Hu Amar Vayhi Utziva V'Yamud, that Psalm 33 verse 9 teaches us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says Vayhi Ol, meaning that there will be light, and He's the one that commanded and the world stood up still, meaning that He's the one that is in control of all creation. We forget that this happened. We sometimes think, He created the world, as if it's a past tense and not a present tense. He created the world, but I have to make money. He created the world, but I have to find a zivug. He created the world, but I have to do such and such. As if we have to help Hashem. As if we are in charge of the outcome. And the more we put the outcome in our hands, in our control, if you will, the more Hashem says, I'm going to let you fail in your own hands. Now, how much effort should a person exert? As much as they have in their emunah. Now, how do you know how much emunah you have? Where does your worry begin? Where does your worry begin? To the extent where you start losing control. Now, everybody has worry. Everybody has some type of concern. Now, if, let's say, for example, you know that you want to work, but work just enough to make a living. Not to start making millions or anything like that. You want to make a living, just an honest living. So what do? As far as how much you make, if you have emunah in Hashem, you know that the Gemara says in Masechet Rosh Hashanah, page 16, also Beitzah, page 16, says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides how much parnasah you're going to make, how much money you're going to make for the year on Rosh Hashanah already. So it doesn't really matter whether you work from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 8 to 7 or being a teacher or being a stockbroker or selling Q-tips to hotel chains. It doesn't really make a difference. What job you have and how much you work. None of that stuff actually matters. I know plenty of people that made millions of dollars selling dog food, which is ridiculous. And I know plenty of people that were in the money business, meaning their clients were all millionaires. And they themselves were broke. Barely enough money to pay rent. Meaning, doesn't matter what profession. People think that, no, only certain professions make a lot of money. I want my son to be a doctor because that means he's going to make a lot of money. No, there's plenty of doctors that don't have jobs. I know one woman that was a nurse. And she was a nurse for a long time, making what nurses make, which is much less than the doctor. Today, she makes more money than most doctors. But not as a nurse. As a holistic healer of some kind. She has enough experience in the medical world. She knew what works and what doesn't. Holistically, different types of vitamins and this and that. Right now, she has a practice in New York. Shtabach Shimo, this woman, millions. You want to talk to her? $500 an hour, like a lawyer. Just talk to her, without nothing. Just $500 an hour, just talk to her. And people are jumping. You have to talk to her, you have to make an appointment to talk to her to make an appointment. That's how busy she is. And she's good at what she does. No problem. Point being is, at her first job, maybe she was making $40,000 a year. Maybe. Today, probably making $40,000 a week, if not more. Why? Because Baruch Hu decided this same person at that point is going to make $40,000 a year. At this point is going to make $40,000 a week. Why? Because Baruch Hu decided. Do you really think she became that much smarter from that point to that point? No, absolutely not. Hashem decided this is going to be this and this is going to be that. So now a person needs to know that the parnasa that he or she makes is already decreed in heaven on Rosh Hashanah. If a person truly believes that, he or she is not going to work a single minute overtime for the sake of money. They may make overtime because they're helping a company or something like that, where there's nobody to replace them, there's a role that they're the only one that can do, there's an emergency, there's COVID-19, there's some type of something like that, fine. But they're not working overtime because they're going to make more money as a result of it. They're working overtime for small periods of time if it's absolutely necessary and there's nobody else to replace them. But standard, what they're expecting their schedule to be, is the minimum required hours in order to maintain this job. So if the minimum required hours is 3 hours a day, that's what they're going to work. If it's 8 hours a day, that's what they're going to work. Just like the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. Or HaChaim HaKadosh was would sew clothing. Was a tailor. And he worked for this Arab, but he would work exactly enough to make the money that he needed for the day. That's a very high level of Emunah. Now, one day this Arab sheikh comes to the tailor and he says, we're going to have a wedding, and I want you to make these suits for everybody. Everybody has to have the same size, same this, same color, special fabric, Says, okay, no problem. So, after about a month, the sheikh comes back and says, okay, I'm here to pick up. Says, I'm sorry, but it's not ready. Says, what do you mean it's not ready? My wedding is in a few days from now. It's not ready, I'm going to kill you. He goes, no, Your Highness, listen. It's not my fault. It's this Jew, this Yehud. It's his fault. What do you mean? What did he do? He says he doesn't want to work. What do you mean he doesn't want to work? He says he only works till 10 o'clock in the morning, then he stops. And I tried to, because of this deal, this big deal for the sheikh. I wanted to give Your Highness the best suits, the best everything. He refuses to work past 10 o'clock. So he comes to Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Rabbeinu Atar. He says to him, Yehud, why aren't you working? He says to him, no, I work for him. I work for Hashem. All I need to work is to make my $100 for the day, my 100 liras for the day, whatever it is. As soon as I get to that, I'm finished. I go learn Torah, I go work for Kadosh Baruch Hu. He says, you better start working. You have a week to finish. I don't care what you have to do. You have a week to finish. He says, I'm not going to change. He says, if you don't change, I'm going to throw you to the lions. I have a nice group of lions, and they're hungry. You know, Sefer Daniel, the prophet Daniel, they threw Daniel to the lions. I always thought that it was like 2, 3, 4, 5 lions. You know, a little cave or something, they threw him into some hole or something, 3, 4 lions. But I read a midrash recently, the place was not a little cave. It was like a jungle that had 1,464 lions. I don't even know if there's 1,400 lions in the world today, period. But that's how many lions there were that they threw Daniel to, and all the lions were scared of Daniel. So now, that's a couple thousand years ago. Or Chaim is much less. A few hundred years ago. A week passes. Clothes, not ready. Why? He's learning Torah. He's too busy to work. The sheikh finds out. They get him arrested. They bring him to the castle. So, okay, Yod, you don't want to work? You're going to ruin my wedding for me? You're going to delay everything because of you? No problem. We're going to throw you to the lions. Oh, Chaim, not blinking for a second. They open the gate, they throw him inside, he sits down, the lions come and sit right next to him like little puppies. Scared to death of him. They're just waiting for him to maybe say chidush, maybe say some story. Nothing. Now the people were like, Your Highness, the lions are scared of him. What do you mean they're scared of him? They didn't eat him yet? No, they're scared of him. He moved his hand, they ran away. They realized, oh, Chaim is not a regular person. They took him out, gave him a lot of kavod. But what does it all mean to us? We're not, Baruch Hashem, not going to get the test of being thrown to lions anytime soon, hopefully. Maybe just lions on the internet, maybe. Lion landlord. Lion IRS. Lion, lions. But what is this? How is this relevant to our life? That's Emunah at its best. A person knows that no matter what they do, they're going to make the same amount of money no matter what the job is. Orach Chaim, what did he really know there? He knew, number one, who's the real boss. Number two, where's the money really coming from? Number three, what is his real responsibility in the world? And four, that there's nothing that he can do to change the outcome as far as how much money he's going to make. All he needs to do is work the minimum required to make a living. If Hashem wants him to be a millionaire, he has an infinite amount of ways to do it. And that's actually what ended up happening. He ended up getting a lot of reward, a lot of money, for what? For not working. Because that's what made him who he is. Whereas we think that if we work more, or if maybe we have two jobs, one job on the side, one job on top of us, one job is beyond, it's all types of jobs. I have an internet job, I have a real job, I have a fake job, and sometimes job. All types of jobs. By the time you finish, you're a chamol. The guy has a situation where his whole life is just one job after another, forgets to actually live. So, what happens with those people? They live a life where it's impossible for them to have Emunah. It's not that they don't want to have Emunah. It's impossible for them to have Emunah. Why? They've put themselves so far out there to exert so much effort that they're not even giving Hashem a chance to help them. He's working so much, he's working till 8 o'clock every day. Every deal that somebody calls him, he answers the phone himself. Every time there's something, he cancels everything, and he goes there. He doesn't let anyone breathe. He's constantly on top of things. What happens at the end? Hashem says, listen, you don't even want me to help you. I'm sending you parnasah, and you don't even want it. You're not even allowing me to help you. I sent you a lotto ticket. You threw it in the garbage. You said, no, I want to work for my money.